afternoon.
So I wanted Danielle to do the intro. You just say, good afternoon, welcome to Kandit's
I just
Daily
blanked
Crime
out
Report.
right after good afternoon. I was like, damn, what day is it?
So it is September 26th. September's almost, like Troy said this morning, September is almost done. The year is almost done, guys. And we do have some weekend magistrates as well as two violent crimes in today's reports. We do not have any announcements.
Fundraisers or whatnot. But if you do have any car washes this weekend, let me know.
Yeah, Danielle wants to wash her car.
Like,
and she wants to donate too.
Yeah. Those mobile ones just don't do it justice, you know?
Let's see who we have on here. Hoffaday Sandra, bad news or good news? Usually the afternoon shows bad news. It's crime that has been committed and charged, allegedly committed and charged in Superior Court of Guam, and we read the magistrates verbatim. Who else is on here?
Even if it's bad, bait 'em.
Oh, Sandra says, Uman, I killed his name. Well, looks like the daily crime report, so probably not good. Rose Mesa Hoffaday from Birmingham, Washington. Hi, Miss Rose. Linda Uggan. Hi, Ria, and hello to the Kandit crew.
Hi.
Okay, so let's get started. You're first today.
Okay, so on or about September 19, 2022, at approximately 1:30 p.m., Guam police officers responded to a terrorizing complaint at a residence in Dedido. The victim reported that her son, Dante Fortaleza Buensuceso Jr., threatened her. Earlier that day, the defendant demanded that the victim give him money. When she told him that she did not have money, the defendant became angered and began banging various items in the victim's house. The report indicates that when the victim told him that she would call the police, the defendant told the victim that there would be a bloodbath at her residence. The report further indicates that the victim had seen the defendant in possession of a small handgun and that she believed he would carry out his threat. As she was leaving the residence in her vehicle, defendant threw what appeared to be brass knuckles to the rear part of her vehicle, which caused a dent to her vehicle. The victim told officers that the defendant appeared to be jumpy and may be under the influence of drugs. The report indicates that the victim told the defendant numerous times that he was no longer welcome at her home. On or about September 21st, 2022, the victim contacted the police and reported that there was banging coming from the front door of her residence and that she had suspected it was the defendant attempting to gain entry to her home. When the police arrived, the defendant was found within the residence. The defendant is currently on pretrial in CF 0213-20 and CF 0035-22. The Honorable Judge Alberto E. Tolentino issued a bench warrant in CF 213-20 on August 17th. Additionally, the Honorable Judge Maria T. Senzon issued a bench warrant in CF 35-22 on August 19, 2022. Based on the foregoing, there is probable cause to charge Dante Fortaleza Buensuceso Jr. with terrorizing, family violence, criminal mischief, criminal trespass, and harassment.
And the next one is Gladwin Albert. Gladwin Simmery Albert. On or about September 22nd in Guam, police officer Quintanilla was informed by Curtis Bowermaster that a man known to the victim as Glad, later identified to be Gladwin Simmery Albert, had shot at the defendant with a rock using a slingshot as the victim was walking on the side of the Agana Cathedral next to Plaza de España Park. The rock hit a bag of food that the victim was carrying, causing the food to fall to the ground. The defendant followed the victim to the front of the cathedral and shot at the victim a second time, hitting the victim in the back with another rock. The victim's outer layer of clothing softened the impact of the rock. No injuries were observed on the victim when he was interviewed. At the time that the defendant was apprehended, he admitted that his name was Glad. A makeshift slingshot and several rocks were found on his person. Based on the foregoing, there is probable cause to charge Gladwin Simmery Albert with assault.
His aim is good.
Mm-hmm.
On or about September 22nd, 2022, at approximately 9:30 a.m., police responded to a complaint in Mauricio and met with Brandon Sanchez and Justin Nevis, who work for Guam Waterworks Authority. They reported being chased by Travis Jerome Uggan after finishing work at a job site. Mr. Sanchez and Mr. Nevis specifically reported that 1. The defendant was tailgating them, 2. They drove into the Mauricio Post Office parking lot, after which the defendant drove in behind them and blocked their car so that they could not leave. 3. The defendant threatened to kill Mr. Sanchez and was holding what appeared to be a black gun. 4. The defendants subsequently fled toward Inarajan. And 5. They then drove to their job site in Mauricio, where they waited for police to arrive. Mr. Sanchez and Mr. Nevis further reported that while waiting for the police, 1. The defendant drove into their job site. 2. A passenger in the defendant's car, Adam Meno, walked over to them and indicated that the defendant wanted to talk. 3. Mr. Nevis asked Mr. Meno if the defendant had a gun, to which Mr. Meno responded, "Yeah, that's my gun, but don't worry." 4. Mr. Nevis approached the defendant's car to record the license plate number. And 5. The defendant stepped halfway out of his car, where Mr. Nevis saw the defendant holding what appeared to be a black gun. 6. Mr. Nevis returned to Mr. Sanchez's car and told Mr. Sanchez that the defendant appeared to be holding a black gun. 7. The defendant drove away with Mr. Meno and yelled, "We'll see you, Brandon." And 8. Mr. Sanchez was afraid for his life. Based on the foregoing, there is probable cause to charge Travis Jerome Uggan with terrorizing, with a special allegation of possession or use of a deadly weapon, 2 counts of assault, 2 counts of harassment, and 2 counts of harassment. I don't know why it's like that.
Because there's 2 different victims.
Oh, okay.
Next one up. Very good, Uggan. Very good, Jerome.
Mauricio.
On or about, this is Ken, Martha Ken. They confiscated her eyebrows.
Wipe that off right now.
Sorry, guys.
Wipe off that expression.
On or about September 24 at approximately 9:31 p.m., Officer Parinasan responded to a disturbance in Manila, where he observed the victim with blood and swelling on the left side of his face. The victim reported the following. He was awakened by Martha Ken, defendant, who was yelling, quote, "Do you know where your kids are at?" end quote. She subsequently grabbed items in his bedroom and threw them outside, where the victim followed her. An argument ensued, during which the defendant grabbed and hit the victim in the head with a rake 7 or 8 times, causing the handle to break off the rake, and the victim fell to the ground in pain. A witness was in her bedroom when the attack started. She heard the victim yell, "Ow," 4 times and went to go check on him, whereby she saw the victim laying in fetal position in pain. She also observed that the defendant appeared intoxicated. Officer Parinasan found droplets of blood, the broken rake, and a black metal pipe. The witness indicated the pipe was the rake handle. The victim was treated by medics and transported to Guam Regional Medical City. When police found the defendant, she spontaneously uttered, "I'm sorry." Police officer Jay Gumatauto observed that she had red, glossy eyes and a strong odor of an intoxicating beverage emitting from her. On July 7, 2022, the defendant entered a deferred plea for family violence in CM 0129-21, and the court ordered the defendant not to harass, assault, or threaten the victim. Based on the foregoing, there is probable cause to charge Martha Ken with family violence as a misdemeanor and a violation of court order. Very good, Martha.
Next, we've got John Manglotnia. Oh, yeah, this is the worst one, right?
Yeah.
On or about September 24, 2022, at approximately 4:30 p.m., Officer Quintanilla responded to a disturbance at a residence in Manilao and met with Victim 1 and his son, Victim 2. According to them, John Joey Villagomez Manglotnia, who is another son of the victim, became irate, abruptly stood up, and yelled obscenities. The victim claims that the defendant specifically yelled, "F you aren't my father," and made 2 unsuccessful attempts to hit him. The other victim then got between the two of them, after which the defendant struck the victim with an open palm behind his left ear and then fled. The victim does not know what set the defendant off, but knows that the defendant takes drugs and believes that may have precipitated the incident. Officer Quintanilla observed slight redness behind the victim's left ear. The defendant returned to the scene before Officer Quintanilla left. When asked if he had hit his father, the defendant replied, "I think I did, officer, but he deserved it." The defendant I think he deserved to get spanked when he was a baby. The defendant has 2 previous convictions for family violence as a misdemeanor in CF 0167-12. Based on the foregoing, there is probable cause to charge John Joey Villagomez Manglotnia with family violence as a third-degree felony and family violence as a misdemeanor. There's a note that says it is unclear whether the victim was referring to illicit narcotics or prescription medications.
Oh, I've never seen that cliff note. That's a cliff note.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right after
Grant. Oh, I like this prosecutor. This Grant
Integrity.
Olan, this prosecutor here, and he is there's one here in the Ken case, and then David Rivera, who's there. Guys, this Grant, Grant
and
Olan.
then here, and then Travis Uggan.
He's a really good prosecutor. I really hope that they don't lose him.
He's fair, right?
He's like you can't. He has integrity.
Yeah.
So exciting things about Grant Olin coming out.
But you know what's so funny about Dante One Suceso's thing?
What?
Like, okay, so he wasn't allowed in the house before, and then all of a sudden your mom says, "Yeah, come in," or like it doesn't say whether or not he broke in, whether he was successful in like getting in, but like if you weren't allowed there and then all of a sudden your mom says, "Yeah, come in," because she called the cops already.
Yeah, maybe she wanted to
right?
keep him there.
Yeah,
so
that they could get him. So like what would possess you to just go in when she's like, shoot, after all the times you go there and she's like, "You're not allowed here." Are you okay?
I would have been like, "This is a setup, Mom."
Setup. You don't reverse. You don't keep going.
Yeah,
Yes.
Dante. Maybe
Good job, Dante.
Maybe he's mama's boy and she just hasn't had enough. We don't know.
Yeah.
We really don't know. Guam is amazing. Guam is... So please, if Martha gets released, please give her back her eyebrows.
I saw a meme. I saw a meme about when you're
eyebrow?
trying to, about this comedian. He was trying to get in, and he was like, I feel like they're just making excuses, like oh, sorry, we don't allow eyebrows anymore. Shave them off and come back. Then when he comes back with his eyebrows shaved, they're like, damn, we just started letting people in with only eyebrows. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We had a good show today.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
A productive day.
We really hope you guys like this segment of Kandit. People really do love other people's misery.
Misery loves company.
So, if you have any fundraisers, if you want to make announcements, please send it to 671-456-4237. And that is the Kandit phone. I am in charge of that phone, so if you're wondering why messages haven't been, I will eventually get to it, okay? I promise.
There's only 5 of us here.
Yeah,
4 right now.
Yes. And don't forget, tomorrow morning we're going to have Sally on the show. I think we're trying to put together a drive for our Filipino brothers and sisters. We'll figure it out and probably have Troy will mention more of that tomorrow on our show. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.